Because I saw in when I was trying to do the research and I was like really trying to find deeper stuff about you. Like I wanted to get into your mindset and your feelings and stuff, but really you do talk about training for the most part. But I think you had a few where you're asking like, okay guys, ask me any questions. And a lot of times people are asking about
So
injury.
you went down.
Oh my God.
Okay, you searched.
No, I went as deep as I could. I went through all comments. I did everything. But obviously, like one of the things I noticed is injury is your specialty. And people ask that question and your like sentence, like very like you're not putting emojis or trying to be too nice about it. You're like overtraining. Just like point blank overtraining.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like, bro, you're training too much.
Yeah.
Everybody's training too much.
Yeah.
And that's like the cornerstone of what I teach. It started with speed, explosiveness, and all these different things. And then everybody's issue is they're training too much, or they had an injury, or they're not training the right way, which led to them not being able to play the sport that they love or whatever it may be. And it all stems from overtraining. So
what do you think that is? Like I have like 20 questions I want to ask before we got into this, but at the same time, like just because we're here, I'm like, what do you think it is in terms of the psychology behind overtraining? Because the people who train a lot know it's not good for them, right?
Like no. That's a great question.
Okay.
I think so. Look, I've spent a lot of time thinking about this.
Okay.
So I've seen it up close at a high level from pro athletes, from being in when I was at UCLA and I was working with the football team over there. I think the overtraining stems from like more so the aspect of if you're not grinding, then you're not getting better. And people feel like if they're not working, then they're not progressing. But when it comes to fitness, the resting part is the most important part. You know what I mean? If you're not resting, you're not developing. So you can do all of this shit on a daily basis. You can work real hard, which is necessary. But on the third, fourth day, if you don't let your muscles recover, everything just went to waste. Literally went to waste. And I'm not just saying it to say it, like everything that you've done, the 2 days that you did, everything goes to shit once you don't rest. So yeah, and that's what leads to injury.
We were talking about putting her on blast and right now, because I asked her, I'm like, why do you think, like she's training twice a day now because she wants to see you as much as she can.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why won't you give yourself the time to rest? She's like, because then my body will realize.
So to that point, I'm like, look, okay, either if you want to train twice a day, I'll make it make sense. I'll ask her every time. I'm like, okay, what'd you do over there? And then she'll tell me. I'm like, cool. We'll do something to kind of supplement what you did over there, and then we'll take it easy or we'll ramp it up depending on what she did. So there's ways to go about it. There's ways around. If you really want to work hard and train twice, 3 times a day, you can do it the right way too, though. So
yeah. So you take in their whole lifestyle into account when you're working with people.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
You got to take into account the sport, the type of person they are, especially the sport, because like right now, I'm away over here just an hour ago, I was training a boxer, right? Their mentalities, they're fighters. They're going to train 2 and 3 times a day. You can't tell them not to. That's just what they do. And kind of with the sport, it's necessary. So it's more so taking into account the person it is, their age, what they want to develop. It's everything. It's about 15, 20 different critical components. And then,
Yeah, see, I'm going to like the middle of my questions. I do want to kind of start from the beginning though.
Okay.
Because I really don't know much about you except for how amazing of a person you are. Like she's always just like one of like my top people in the entire universe. He's so amazing. And even the way you guys laugh together, I'm like, oh, he just seems like such like a good soul. But beyond that, I don't know much. So I don't know where you're from. I'd love to hear like bring it all the way back so I can have a better understanding of why you do what you do today.
Okay.
So yeah,
I'm
where
from
you're
Pasadena.
from.
I'm from Pasadena. I'm from out here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm from out here. I'm from Pasadena, born and raised. Moved out to the Inland Empire. I don't know if you know where that's at.
I do.
Okay, yeah. I was in the Inland Empire once I got to like my teenage years. That's where I went to high school at. And I was just always playing sports. Sports was my thing since I was young. My dad played baseball.
Okay.
He played pro ball, and that's what I grew up around. That's what I've seen since I was 1, 2 years old. So always with him. That's what I wanted to do when I was little.
Did you want to play? He played basketball?
Baseball.
Baseball. Okay.
Baseball was his thing. Yeah.
So because he played that, did you want to play that, or you just like?
That was, oh my God, that was my life.
Oh really?
I'm talking about, I'm with him. My mom would take us on the road to go see him, whether he was in Oklahoma, Colorado, wherever he was at, we would go see him. We would go see him as much as we can during the school year and stuff like that. I was with him on the field. I was with him in the clubhouse. I was living a lifestyle with him. And that was my thing. You know? Was
it his intention that you become a pro baseball player?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, that's every dad. He wants his son to follow him. Yeah. But I was working with him all the time, always training with him and stuff like that. But once I moved, it was more so of I just was put into a different environment. I was always playing baseball. It was really, really good. Once I moved, everything kind of switched. And I feel like that literally changed my life, because had I stayed where I was from in Pasadena, I would have been playing baseball, and I don't know what would have happened from there, in a good or bad way. But moved out there to the Inland Empire and just started playing football. I played football and ran track, and those became my main sports. And I kind of I don't want to say regret it, but I always wonder what would have happened had I kept playing baseball. That's my sport. That's my thing. So.
What do you think got you away from baseball and made you try other sports? Like,
I was scared to do it. I was scared to go out there to a different city around different people. I was only 13, 14. So like I was just scared to go around different people and do my thing.
And
that's all it was. It sounds like what the fuck, but at the time I was just like nervous to go out there and do my thing.
Was your dad disappointed?
Oh, he was mad. Like he was disappointed for a long time though. Even like up until like I graduated.
He's still getting over it.
He mentions it all the time, but I'm like, dude, get over it. It's over. So.
Because you have siblings, right?
Yep, I got 3 siblings.
Okay.
Yeah, I got 3 siblings, 2 kids. Yeah.
And your siblings, did your dad try to get them into sports?
He was on them way harder.
Wow.
Not harder, but he was able to be around though. With me, he was on the road a lot.
Okay.
You know, so he wasn't around me as much in my youth. With them, he was done playing ball. So he was around them. He was able to control everything more. Yeah, but they playing. My youngest brother is going to Florida for baseball.
Okay.
Yeah,
so he did the full.
Oh yeah, he did his thing.
Okay.
He got a scholarship. He going out there.
Oh,
He
wow.
leaves tomorrow actually. He leaves tomorrow night. I'm sad. My other brother, the middle child, he's going up to San Francisco for baseball.
Okay.
Yep, he leaves on Saturday. So yeah, they both got scholarships and they're doing their thing.
Okay. I mean, all athletes though.
Yeah, all athletes.
Okay.
All of us.
Yeah.
All of us. My little sister plays softball, so she's doing her thing.
Okay. So I was gonna ask, like, is there something particular you remember in your childhood, things that were said, but I guess it was just the lifestyle, like the environment you grew up in.
Yeah, that's all we knew.
Yeah.
That's literally all we knew. And it was just like, grow up around it. It wasn't forced upon us or nothing like that. It was just more so like, this is what we around. This is what we know. And, you go about it like that. And I was still around it. Like, baseball is my thing though. Baseball is my thing, but I was just more so, I was always a fast guy. So track and field and football was home. And I was really good at it. And it wasn't like oh my God, you're not playing baseball. Like it's the end of the world. It was just more so like, all right, they supported me still and everything was good and I excelled. It was good. It was good.
I'm actually curious, is there anything else about moving to the Inland Empire that you feel like changed you that still sticks with you today?
Oh man, yeah, because at the time, and that's a good question, at the time in Pasadena, it wasn't going to be good for me to grow up around.
Okay.
It just wasn't. And once I moved out there, it was more so we didn't know anyone at all. And it did change the whole trajectory of how my life was going to go. So the people I met, I was actually around, Asian people. I was around a lot of white people. I was around a lot of different ethnicities to where I was able to learn how to like articulate myself around different people because to be honest, you can't talk to a black person the same way you talk to an Asian person. Okay. You just can't. If you're trying to get a point across or if you're trying to really, communicate properly. It's,
even like that rapport.
Yeah.
Like, trying to relate. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And especially at that younger age, it's like, okay, you have to learn how to get along. You have to learn how to be around different people because out there it was just in Pasadena where I was at, it was nothing but black people pretty much or some Hispanics. But then I got out there, it was more diverse. It was like, okay, cool. And it kind of set me up. It set me up to be able to just be able to communicate better. And I think that's why I am able to communicate with a lot of people now, like doing what I do, because at that young age, man, I was able to really get along with those people. And it felt, the reason I bring it up is because I felt alone when I was out there, when I first got out there, because I was new. And then being around all those different types of people was kind of like, all right, it's either you adapt or you're alone. You know what I mean? So I chose to adapt, obviously. And then it set me up good. It set me up good.
Okay, so it was a good change.
A great change.
Okay.
A great change.
I was curious if you ever considered traditional career paths. So I always ask that for people that have like really creative, like really they created their own life, because that's like the topic of the podcast, breaking the mold, creating a life on your own terms. But I'm always curious if they went through a phase where they were considering just going like the blueprint road of, I mean, your parents and your environment's different. Because your dad was an athlete, but I'm always like, did you ever think about being an accountant or like something like going the school route?
So I was majoring in accounting, right?
Okay, the fact that I said accounting.
That's what's crazy. That's what's crazy.
Okay. Accounting is what came to mind, and I was annoyed. I was trying to search for another profession. I was like, that sounds like, no, let me think of something else, but that's funny.
So after I finished playing ball, after I finished playing in college, I was at junior college at Pasadena City College, right? Stopped playing baseball because I was playing baseball in college, and I didn't want to play no more. Like, I'm like, all right, I'm not about to go to the major leagues. I'm not going to be a professional ball player. And like, I had ability, but I just knew I wasn't going to do it. I had no more zeal to do it anyway. So I'm like, cool, it's not a big deal. Let me figure out what I want to do next. Now, that's where the idea of going to the military came about. Because I'm sitting, I'll never forget, it was like 3 in the morning. And I'm sitting on the couch. I'm in my grandpa's house. And it hit me that I was done playing baseball. I was done playing sports for the rest of my life. I'm like 18 or 19 at the time. And I'm like, okay, like, what am I going to do? I'm like, and I remember kind of being in a panic. I'm like, what am I going to do? Because it was the first time that I didn't have to think about sports. I always was on the back end of sports. Like, I'll get a scholarship here, go to school, figure it out, and just keep playing until I can't no more. But it hit me early, unexpectedly. And I'm like, damn, like, what am I going to do? And I'm watching a show on Netflix. I forgot the name of the show. It was back in like 2015. And I'm like, I'm going to be a policeman. I'm going to be a policeman, right? And it always interested me, but I just never gave it attention to that point. So I'm like, cool. Googled. I'm like, let me see how to go about it. And I'm like, I'm going to go to the military. Nobody in my family went to the military. A family friend did, but nobody in my family and my initial family went to the military. So it was all new. My mom had a heart attack going. She's like, you're not going. You're not going. I'm like, Mom, like, let me go. But yeah, so I considered being a police officer. And then kind of wanted to go with the safer route in terms of going to the military because I wanted to have school to rely on and, you know, different benefits to rely on. So that's why I chose the military. But yeah, police officer to answer the question.
How long did that period last where you were like the panic period?
About not too long because I made up my mind quick, but it hit me. I don't really want to go to college anymore. Like, I don't want to sit in school. I love learning. Like, I'm talking about, I take writing classes on a weekend because I love learning so much, you know, but I don't want to be in school. At that time, I didn't want to be in school. And I'm like, you know what? Gave myself about a month. And I just made my mind up. I was in a panic and I'm like, well, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I don't know what's next. But it took about a month for me to really make up my mind. Like, okay, this is what I'm going to do.
A month is not bad.
Yeah.
And I feel like, let's say for people who are in that panic mode of realizing what they're currently doing is not what they want to continue doing. They need to go to the next phase, but they don't know what that is. Do you think that's a good piece of advice? Like, give yourself a deadline?
It can be beneficial or kind of bad because it's like, all right, damn, I got to hit this deadline. And if I don't, then everything crashes. It's like, nah, it's more so like, I would say looking back, move at your own speed. But it's easy to say looking back though, because I remember being in a time and it's like, that's your world. That's your only world. You know what I mean? It's you. You don't have kids. It's only you and you're trying to figure out your life. So I would say do what you want and don't be afraid to pivot. And I think a lot of people are afraid to pivot if something doesn't work out. Like, switch your major if you don't like your major anymore. You know, switch your job if you don't like it. Switch your career path if you don't like it. I've talked damn near thousands of people who are afraid to change their majors or sports or whatever it may be because of what their parents would think or what people would think, and which is a real thing though, you know what I mean? It's a real thing. I'm not gonna act like it's not, but do what you want. And I think if you do what you want and pursue it how you want to, I think that whole process would be easier. And I mean, I think that's what helped me because at that time I didn't give a fuck. I was just like, I'm gonna do it. I didn't care what my mom said, nobody said. I'm like, I'm grown and I'm gonna do what I want to do. So yeah.
I wonder why it is natural to care about what other people think, but what's so negative about changing or pivoting? Like, why is there so much pressure and fear around doing that?
I think it's because of what people would think, what you think people would think about you. Whether they're like, oh, he's indecisive or he's changing this, he's doing this, he's always doing this. Like, no, I'm just trying to figure it out. And I think that kind of weighs, and especially if you're a person who's cognizant of that, it weighs on you a little more because you want people to think of you positively, not, you know, not in the manner of like, he's always indecisive, whatever it may be. So I think like, and I'm that type of person, like I really want people to think of me highly. So if I'm changing careers or whatever it may be, and I know you're talking about me or you feel a certain way about me that's not positive, it does weigh on me a lot. But I think it comes from that though.
I was actually curious about your perspective on the concept of being lost. Like, I didn't know you were going to say you only took a month to decide because so you weren't in that space for very long. But what's your perspective on that period of feeling lost?
It's not that it only took me a month. It was more so it took me a month to decide what I wanted to do. But the lost feeling came from when I was 18 and 19 deciding to go to the military. I went in at 19. Once I got in the military, it was more, that was the most lost I've ever been.
Really?
Because I'm isolated. I'm by myself in a different state now. You know, it's like, okay, now you have to figure life out. Because once you're in the military, it's like, yeah, you have the military to kind of fall back on. But being the type of person that I am, I felt like the military was kind of capping me at a certain point. It's like, okay, you have this job in the military, and that's that, and that's all you ever be. You listen to us, and that's that. You know, we treat you how you want to. We say whether you can go this place, and that's that. And I felt so capped. And this was as soon as I got in too.
Okay.
I'm like, Jesus, like this is how it is. I'm like, no. And everybody felt the same way. Everybody in the military feel the same way. Out of a million people, if you ask them, probably 5 will have a different answer. But everybody feels the same way. Yeah, I was more lost when I was in the military than when I was out. You know, so.
Because you feel like it took away like your independent decision making.
Yeah, but it felt like. Not to sound braggadocious or anything, but I felt like I had more to offer.
Okay.
I felt like I had way more to offer, and I genuinely felt that way. I didn't feel like I was some big time superstar, you know. And I didn't have no big fitness page at the time. I didn't even have an Instagram at the time.
Okay.
I didn't have anything, but I just felt like I had more to offer than just kind of like just working in the military. You know?
And you weren't expecting that before you got in. It was only once you started you realized it wasn't what you expected it to be.
Exactly that.
Okay.
Exactly that. It's going in, I'm thinking it was going to be one way. They sold it to me a certain way.
I feel like their commercials are really on point.
No, it was amazing.
Yeah,
it's
they're
amazing.
like their marketing team.
I give them all the thumbs up because I'm like, it's not like that.
Okay.
It is. I see it to this day. I'm like, it is not like that.
Yeah.
Don't.
They really
lying.
do it like as if you're going to like some sort of resort. Like, like everyone has a big smile on their face.
Seriously, like a resort. I'm like, hell no. It's not like that.
Okay.
What? As far as it being long, I forgot the initial question. I'm sorry.
Me too. What was it?
But
just basically that it just wasn't. It was only once you got in that you realized it's not what you expected.
Yeah, it was exactly that. So at that point, probably about 3 months in, because I went in, did my basic training, and then I had to do my police training, and then it was kind of like, what's next? And I was fine being in it though. I was like, okay, cool. I got the next. I signed a 4-year enlistment, and I was fine. I wasn't like in a rush to like get out or anything, but I'm like, hell no, this ain't what I want to do.
Okay.
This ain't what so the initial plan was to go to the military for 4 years and then get out and be a police officer. That was the initial plan.
So training, being an athlete, all that stuff is kind of in the background at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
It really wasn't even on my mind at the time.
Okay.
It wasn't on my mind until I know the exact day it hit me. I was probably about 4 months in the military, and this was in police school. I was like at the end of my police school, we was in a class, and we had a break, and I'm sitting there, I'm fed up. me and my boys, we fed up, and I'm just sitting by myself though, just thinking. We had like a 10-minute break, and I wanted to like do some training stuff. It popped up in my head, and athletics, everything has always been my passion. So I was just like, it wasn't like it came out of nowhere, but I was just like, I would like to do like have my own gym or something like that. You know, what I'm doing exactly wasn't the initial plan, but like I was like, I would love to have my own gym. That just came up to my mind, and then kind of exercised that idea for months on end until it became an actual thing.
In your mind. Okay. I kind of like that concept, like exercising the idea. Yeah. So you're just like putting the pieces together in your mind for it to see if it can make sense.
Yeah, every day. And people was asking me, and like the way being in there was fine, but like people would ask me, I would be on shift. So I worked nights, right? I worked the night shift every single day of my whole career. I never worked a day shift. And so like I had to find ways to stay up. So I bring all my stuff, and I worked at like a top secret base, so I couldn't have my phone or anything, right? So I had this notebook, and I'm sketching up the gym. I'm writing down ideas, and this is probably about a year and a half in at the time, like a year and a half in, and I'm just always sketching like the gym and how I want things to look. Because at this time, I'm like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do when I get out. Okay. Had this planned up. I was just gonna try to save money and like, you know, just try to learn on the way to my enlistment date. So I'm like, cool. Guy asks me, he's like, Harrison, why are you always drawing? He's like, what are you drawing? He was an older guy. He was like 27, 28. I was like 20. So what are you drawing, man? I'm like, it's my gym. I want to have my gym, you know? And he was like, okay, that's what's up. And then fast forward, he just hit me up. Just like 4 months ago, he hit me. He was like, hey, man, he was like, do you remember me? He was like, you know, we was on the same flight together. I'm like, bro, I remember. He was the only one who actually like gave me some encouragement.
Okay.
And he found me. I don't know how he found me, but he found me. But yeah, so
wow.
I always exercise the idea. And then it's just crazy that I'm here. But
Were you afraid to even be thinking? Because I feel like sometimes when you have a new dream, you're afraid to even admit it to yourself. Like it just seems bigger than what you think is possible. Like at that time, did it seem intimidating, the concept of having your own gym? Or
I'll be honest with you, now seems more intimidating when I think about like really having my own compound of like having a gym, having a lot of things ran within it, because that's initially that's what I want. At the end of all of this, that's what I want, is to have my own big thing and then everything's running, everything's smooth. And now when I think about it, that scares me more than it did back then. I think I was just trying to get out of that situation to where I don't think I put it in perspective though. I think I was just trying to like make something happen at the time. It wasn't really nerve-wracking for me. It was more so exciting.
Okay.
Yeah, it was more so exciting.
Yeah, that could be something too. Like sometimes you just need something to get excited about.
Yeah.
So whether it really is going to happen or not, just the feeling you get about daydreaming about this thing is worth it.
No, that right there. You know what? That's probably what put me in a positive light.
Yeah.
Because whenever I would draw it up or I would talk about it or think about it, it would put me in a positive light because I didn't want to be there at the time.
Yeah.
And damn, that is true.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's actually really cool, like, to keep that perspective no matter like what's going on in your life.
Yeah.
Think of something else that you'd want to do, whatever that could make you happy, and like even if you're not sure it's going to happen or not, the positive energy it'll give you is what's really important.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly that.
Yeah. I'm curious though, like, okay, because you wanted to be a cop, because one of the things I wanted to ask you is what you were hoping to gain by going into the Air Force. Like one of the biggest things you were hoping to gain. Yeah. Did you have an idea, or was more so like just a stepping stone?
I knew it was going to be a stepping stone for me.
Okay.
But the whole plan was to be a cop from the military. So I was just going to be like, all right, cool. I'm going to use the military as a stepping stone to, you know, finish my schooling, because I didn't mind finishing school. I just more so wanted to learn, but I was like, I'll finish it, get my degree, since I do need it to be a policeman. Okay. And that's what it was. I was like, I'd rather make the money. I'd rather make money, experience a little bit, do all these other things while being on the process of getting some experience and becoming a police officer. That's how I went about it. But I was young, man, like thinking about it, talking about it out loud. This is the first time I've been asked this, and I'm trying to think about it. Like, it was used as a stepping stone for sure, but I just really wanted to like go do something. Okay. I wanted to go do something. I did not want to be stuck at home. I definitely did plot it out. I thought about it carefully though. I'm like, okay, this is how I'm going to do this. Once I'm done, I'm going to do this. Like, you know, I thought about it. I was just trying to get the fuck out of here.
I feel like you're more action oriented than me. Like sometimes like I'll think about something for years before I make the first step. So that's why I ask questions the way I do. I'm like, well, what were you? Because I'll think about 1,000 things before I make a step, which is a hindrance to me, and it's like a form of procrastination. Yep. But yeah, it seems like you know, you have this like voice inside you that tells you to go in a direction and you take action.
I ain't even gonna act like I do the same thing you do. I get the paralysis from thinking about it.
Analysis paralysis is real.
It's a real thing. I get it just like everybody else. It's just like at certain times it's like, if I don't do this, then I'm about to go down. Like everything's gonna spiral down.
Sometimes you just need to put like one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
Whether it's perfect or not.
Whether it's perfect or not. And I think like this building my whole thing that I built, that part right there, just like putting shit out. And I think that's what kind of got me to the point I'm at, because everything came off as more so authentic, you know, and not staged or created. Everything was just authentic. I would put out all my videos, you know, I would use the language that I use, whether it's cussing or it's good diction, and I'm using big words per se, and I would just be myself, but just putting shit out every day, that became like, that actually worked for me. So yeah.
I do kind of love it. And it gets recorded when you're doing that, right? Sometimes it's cool to like keep it in.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, there'll be like a little clip of you like with the...
What? I need that.
Just even for like if it's for your own personal.
I need that.
Yeah. Violation starts.
I'm copying you.
Yeah. This is my most comfortable is something even weirder, like something like that.
Jesus Christ.
Not with these jeans.
That's tough. And some jeans too. That's
not usually like in jeans, but yeah, this is like my ultimate position. Okay. Actually.
How do you do the last? There's no way I couldn't even get in that position.
Oh, that.
Are you flexible?
I guess.
Hell
this position?
I can't do it. I teach mobility, but I can't do that.
You ever need help teaching your clients? No, I don't know shit. I really.
Usually, like, you're gonna be the poster child. I got you.
Okay, so back to my interrogation.
Let's do it.
So yeah, the last thing you were saying is that you feel like that's kind of what set the stage, is you just putting out content, not really thinking too much about it.
Yeah, just throwing it out there. Throwing it out there. And, you know, I was watching Gary Vaynerchuk, watching Gary Vee a lot, and he was talking about more so documenting, I mean, you know, versus always creating. Yeah. And, you know, everybody creates, which is fine, but it kind of puts you in that paralysis state of mind that we were talking about. Yeah. And so I'm like, damn, I'm gonna try that. So I just went more. I've had people try to work with me, videographers try to work for me, and like I can't do the creation thing, you know, unless it's like for a commercial or brand. I can't do it. I have to just film it, put it out. If the camera's kind of shaky, or if we were having a conversation, or I don't care if I was singing behind the camera, I'm putting it out.
Okay.
You know, and people actually, they take to it. You know, at first I was self-conscious about it, but I'm like, just gonna put it out. And those videos have done way more numbers, and people got so much information from those videos than the ones that I tried to kind of curate and fine tune. So, yeah.
How did it even transition from you having this vision of wanting your own gym to being a trainer and having a platform?
I'm sorry. I fucked it up. But I just seen somebody walking up, so I didn't know if he was
They're
expecting.
trying to get in?
I seen somebody walking. I don't know. Oh yeah, see, somebody's right there.
Did somebody order Taco Bell? Did you order Taco Bell?
I just seen him. That's my PTSD kicking in. I'm like,
I know. Do you think we should talk about that at all?
we can.
Yeah.
There might be somebody that resonate with it, because the one time that I mentioned anything military related, this was like 2 years ago. People, I got a flood of DMs. They're like, hey man, I'm trying to join the military. What advice do you have? And like, I'm like, damn, I didn't even think people really, and they were just flooding me with it. And I was happy to answer the question. So we can, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't mind talking about it. I don't get to a lot, so I would like to.
I know. I didn't want to like poke at anything that you felt uncomfortable with, but
I'm good.
I think it is interesting because it is like we were talking about how great the commercials are. Like it's something that's encouraged, honored, celebrated in the culture.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the repercussions and the lasting effects are very real on a human level. Like from a patriotic level, there's some great things that people can perceive it to be. But on a personal level, I'm curious about your experience and like what those lasting effects are like.
For me, my job was critical. So like you have people who go in, like I have friends that I made in there from all over, and they were nurses, or you know, some worked in a gym and were just passing out basketballs, and that was their 8-hour shift. That was their literal job. Me, I had to arm up with a rifle and a handgun every single night, and I'm working 13-hour shifts, and then even having to go to certain trainings and teachings on my one day off that I have. So like my job was way more critical. I can die at any moment just guarding the base, you know what I mean? So for me, the experience was more so like every night that I armed up, I knew what was at risk. The job itself was very tedious. It was tough. That shit was hard. Honestly, that shit was hard. It can be easy depending on where you at, but being a policeman is never easy. And I don't care what nobody says. I don't care. That shit is hard, and it's scary, and it's tough to do. And it's just like, okay, cool. So for me, every day that I went, it got more and more to the point to where it was like, once I had my daughter, I was like, I'm not doing this. And that's when it officially changed to where I was like, I'm not doing this once I get out. I'm not doing the police thing. Like I'm changing the whole trajectory of what I want to do. Because once I had her, I seen how dangerous the job was. I was coming, it would be 3 a.m. and I'm dealing with some crazy people with big ass weapons and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm serious. Like I remember it was times where they'll call me down, I'm on patrol, and I'm having to encounter like 2 people that are on meth. And I got my pistol, I have my gun out right here against the door, just in case they try to grab me I have it right here ready to shoot them, kill them, you know, if I have to protect everything. So like, I didn't want to experience that no more. And the whole experience, it kind of did mess me up. You know, it fucked me up a little bit, but like I'm fine though. I'm fine. Talking about it helps. I'm fine. Yeah. But talking about it helps though. I used to not talk about it. I don't really get asked about that too much. But no, I mean, I'm here. Like I just got done talking to a mental health person for the VA, and reliving everything kind of put me in a place where I'm like, okay, let me get out of that. Like he was like, no, that we have to talk about it too. I'm like, all right, cool. But that was the first time I really dove deep about it. That's why I'm so open to talk about it now, because it did make me feel better afterwards. But yeah, like the whole PTSD aspect, all of those things are real. All that shit is hard to deal with on a daily basis. Some people have it worse than others. But like, I am proud of what I did though. You know, I'm proud that I served. I'm proud that I went through what I went through.
Was it more like anticipation fear, or like you actually lived through some things that,
Yeah.
or okay.
Yeah, I lived through a few things that was like, I can't talk about it because only because I was at a top secret base. So
Okay.
those things can't get disclosed. But like, I can tell you, like, there was incidents where, you know, where I had to like do my thing. I had to do my thing.
Okay.
But yeah.
And that obviously changes you as a person.
Oh yeah, it
Yeah.
changes. It's like, yeah, you think about it. You know what I mean? Like for me, I've dealt with it. I try not to run from it. You know, I try to kind of like deal with it in my own way, whether it's like me talking about it out loud to myself or going on a walk, which I do a lot. And I just kind of like, I deal with it. And so
Yeah.
like now I'm able to, like I could talk freely about it. And like off camera, I can tell you all types of stuff, which is, and I'll be fine with it. You know,
Yeah.
like if I hear a gunshot, it won't freak me out or nothing like that. It's hard for me to sleep at night. You know, stuff like that.
Just
And,
because you feel like you need to be alert type of thing? Okay.
like I have to. I
Okay.
can't sit with my back facing. Like I can't. Some people probably feel like they can't. Like I really can't. Like when I seen the guy walking up, like that fucks me up to where I'm
Okay.
like, okay, like who is that? Or like what are you expecting? So like that type of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess there's a difference between acknowledging that you have certain instincts and being able to suppress the instinct
Yeah.
and like have to act accordingly type thing. I guess that's like an interesting part of psychology that you're probably figuring out
It is.
how that works.
It is that, and I'm still trying to figure it
Yeah.
out. Honestly, I'm still trying to figure it
Yeah.
out because I've talked about it. I've talked about it with a buddy of mine who was in, and we're just like how do you contain that, or like how do you bottle it, or at least keep it at a level where it's like okay, like everybody around you don't feel uneasy, you know. So like I feel like I've got to the point to where I'm able to manage it. And my kids don't feel uneasy around me. My brothers don't feel uneasy around me. Like everything's cool, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That was wild.
Yeah.
It's wild.
And the fact that like certain experiences can just stick with us for life too. And it's just like figuring out the tools to manage your way through it the
Yeah.
best way you can.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. It's like I'm glad that I do have the resources. They do look out for you. They do give you resources and stuff like that because that is necessary. Like talking about it, this was before I went. This was about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, and somebody had been like egging me on, like go to the mental health clinic, go to the disability clinic, and you know put in for PTSD because you have it. They're like, I don't care what you like, you have it, and I'm like, bro, I don't have it. Been in denial the whole time. I was in denial I got out in like 2018 and it's 24. I'm just now officially like going to the VA clinic and telling them like my issues 6 years later.
Yeah.
And it feels good to be able to talk. Like the guy, I didn't plan on talking. Like I would go to the sessions, I have my hood on.
Oh, you were.
Just like that. Just like
I've seen that those guys in the movies were like, don't
all
want
the
to be
time
here.
in
Yeah.
the movies.
Yeah.
Had my hood on. I didn't want to talk and I wasn't going to talk.
Yeah.
He must have said something. I forgot what he said that triggered me in a good way. And I'm like, you know what? I'll talk to you.
Yeah.
I talked, and it made me feel so much better. And then, you know, I got a lot of like help and resources now, so it's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice that you still feel proud of the experience. Like you're so happy you did it.
It does make me feel like really big. It makes me feel really big that I got through it, that I did it, and you know, I mean, I'm still here. So like I'm real proud of it. I don't know, people like I don't talk about it a lot, but I don't even know if my family knows how proud I am. But I am. I love it. I take pride in that. Seriously. Seriously.
Do you think like that's a perspective to have if you go through something really difficult to feel more so proud of it?
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
No matter what. If you still standing, your heart's still beating, you have to. You got to give yourself credit for getting through the tough shit.
Yeah. Don't you? I feel like we don't, as like a human race, do not do that enough.
We don't. I just now learned to do that. Like at like around, this is a couple years ago, like 26 probably. I'm like, nah. Like you deserve to give yourself credit. I don't care how you got through it. You got through that shit. So yeah, we got to give ourselves more credit, man. Got to.
I feel like just highlighting that is so important. But like no matter what you went through, instead of feeling shame about it or regret, I mean, those types of emotions, like we're complex, it's gonna come with it.
Yeah.
But to like maintain being proud of yourself, if you're still standing, like you said, like if you got through it, that's a win and says a lot about your character.
It says everything about it. And like people get caught up with, including myself, with like the manner in which you went about something. Let's say, for example, you were in the military and you got discharged because of something, because of whatever it may have been, right? And you know, you live life and a lot of people kind of discount everything that they went through in the military because they got discharged and how outside people will look at it. But I'm like, nah. Like, nobody knows what you went through. Nobody knows the reason why you got discharged. Nobody knows all the work that you put in for them years that you were in. Like, no, don't discount what you've been through or what you've done. Be proud of that shit and you keep it pushing and you grow and you learn from it. It's just that, I don't know, like, I got to this point to where, all right, I'll give you another example, a more prominent one. So right now at the stage of life that I'm in, I want to own my own gym, right? I like a big gym, do my thing. Now, from where I'm at right now to how I'm going to get that, I have an idea of how I'm going to do it. It's not going to go according to that plan. I know I'm going to bump my head a lot. I'm going to do some shit that's probably like you shouldn't have did that. Or I'm going to go about things, or I'm going to bullshit and have that paralysis thing. You know what I mean? We're not perfect. By no means am I going to discount it because I didn't do it perfect or I didn't get through it perfectly. So, I mean, yeah.
I think even not discounting it, like you were saying, just because it didn't end up the way you pictured it, not discounting what you went through.
Yeah.
I was actually having that conversation with Ilar today. We were talking about relationships in general.
Yeah.
And I was saying I have this thing where if it didn't, not that it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, but like, let's say even I'm like up until now, I can even say, or I even think sometimes like I've never been in love because the relationship didn't end up being the forever that I thought it would be.
Yeah.
And then she was kind of challenging me on that. I'm like, okay, well, even for example, our friendship, like been friends for almost 15 years, but if this blows up in smoke, like something happened, a betrayal or whatever, where we're no longer friends, it does taint the experience. And I will look back on it in a sense, like as if it wasn't as real as I thought it was.
Yeah.
And just comparing that to other life experiences, like when you kind of think about it, it's like, because it didn't end up the forever, whatever you thought it was going to be, does it discount the other whole of it?
That's a hell of a question. Nah, I don't think so. I think that kind of shapes or it kind of dictates what happens next. So like, damn, that's a great question. Damn.
Yeah, I think it's a personal choice. I feel like there's no right or wrong.
I don't think there's a right or wrong. I
Right.
think it's a personal choice, like you said. I think it's more of a personal choice. It's perspective.
Yeah.
It's perspective because if I spend my life with someone for 10 years and I felt like I was in love and they love me back and then I get cheated on, it's like, damn. Like, nah, I still was in love with you. I think you were in love with me, but then something happened along those lines. So, like, it's just all about how you look at it,
Yeah,
how
it
you
doesn't
feel.
change the history.
Yeah.
It just changes
It
what
changes.
may happen going forward.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But to your point though, like I see what you're saying, damn. Because I can see how somebody may feel like they was never loved or like you were never deeply in love. It's
It changes the whole perspective.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the perspective.
Yeah.
But I'm
Damn.
seeing that from like the way that you're talking, I'm realizing that you're the type of person where you're saying like, don't discount everything
Yeah.
that happened. In this case, we're talking about hard work and things like that.
Yeah.
Just because you got discharged or something ended in the way that you hadn't imagined,
Yeah.
still be proud of yourself and still honor everything that happened.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
And when it comes to that type of stuff, when it comes to love or just whatever you've been through, I think about like the long 14-hour days that you spent doing your actual duty. Or I think about nights where you were talking to whoever you're in love with and you really felt close to them. You know what I mean? And that's why it's hard for me to say like, no, it never existed or to actually discount it. Cause like, I remember all those times. I remember all those long days and you know what I mean? The loving nights and stuff like that. So no, it's just about how you think about it.
Well, I mean, I appreciate you sharing anything about the PTSD and all that experience because that's kind of, it's touchy and it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, even, you know, for yourself, you're probably still like wrapping your mind around it. Like you said, it's like a new realization, which I think a lot of us, like maybe not to that extreme, have dealt with, you know, like I feel like trauma has almost become like a trending word. I almost don't like saying it anymore. But like we don't take things as seriously as they are. It's like, oh, well, it's not detrimental to my, you know, everyday life. Like I'm still able to move past it. Like maybe it's not that bad. It's like, oh no, it's probably still sitting there and
it's somewhere
affecting
in
your
there.
life in a way that you don't realize.
Yeah, it's messing with you a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so something good.
But yeah, even like we were talking about you transitioning from the idea of the gym and like now you have all these big dreams for the compound you want to have. But like, I'm just curious because I think anybody who sees what you're doing now, like all the followers you have and all like just how big you've been able to grow it, It's like, even if they've haven't even tried like the training one person yet, they're looking at you like, oh, that's what I want. Like that could be like their vision board goal. So I'm curious, let's say what's something you think somebody should ask themselves before going down this path? Like real questions, like to really figure out if that's something that they'd want to do.
If they're willing to do it, even if they're tired, or even if they're having some bad days, or even if they don't have as many clients as they want, or if they're not making any money, or if they'd be willing to do it for free. That's the real question. Like actually do it for free. You know what I mean? With no expectation of getting any type of compensation from it. That's the question.
That's a great meter.
And if you're not, then I don't think you should do it. I don't think you should do it seriously, at least. So I think that, because I've had people that I've interned. I have one person interning for me right now, and you know, that's what it is. It's like, do you actually want to do this, or is there something else you want to do, or are you exercising multiple things? Because if you're not really bought in with something like this is dealing with people's careers, with people's bodies. This is how people feed their families. You can't really be like half foot in. You can't. You can't. So
I think people probably see your platform and don't realize the seriousness behind what you're filming. Like it's not like you're just an influencer. Like, you know, like you said, you're dealing with people's lives.
I can't tell you how many, oh my God, like late night calls from people that I train, all types of stuff. Like people, they don't realize the seriousness. They don't. And I don't think they ever will. And that's not a slight on anybody. It's just, I'm talking about grown men have called me crying because of whatever may have happened with their body, or them needing to get to a certain level within their bodies to feed their newborn son. So like, this is everything. You know, this is people's lives. This is livelihood.
Yeah. You know, I was telling you, I was looking through all your comments and one of them I noticed is someone said, why do you think coaches don't care about people's mental health? And I think that's like been a big subject lately. I mean, I was telling you, I don't train that much. I don't pay that much attention to sports, but like lately, even Simone Biles, like coming out with her, I'd call it like a documentary, but paying attention to gymnastics and everything that happened with her. So obviously the topic of mental health and like the gymnast world has been coming up just in my reality. Like I've just been noticing it. And then I saw that comment where she said, oh, how come coaches don't care about people's mental health? And I think like 100 people commented underneath it. So it's a topic that people are paying attention to. And I was curious about your opinion on it. So obviously you've gone the other direction where you're answering calls at 1 a.m. But I was curious about your perspective of like that relationship between coaching and mental health.
And what aspect? What you mean?
Whatever way you want to take it, really. Like I think I'm just saying it from a high level curiosity.
I would say there's a huge importance on it. So if you train athletes or even non-athletes, they don't have to be an athlete, but I think that's the most critical component. The well-being of the athlete is the end all be all. And I want to give you a good example. I had a guy I was training, right? He was an NFL guy, then he moved over to the like amateur football league, and it's still professional. So great guy, this is my guy, right? We had been training for some time. We became real close, hung out outside of everything. And, you know, he was going through personal issues, and he grew up kind of messed up, and he was going through personal issues. And I'm like, man, like, let's hang out. We ain't even got to train today. Like we took some days off, hung out, whatever. Got him back to a positive state of mind to where, you know, he was able to put himself in position to feed his newborn son. But even not bigger than that, but even in addition to that, he was in a space to where he didn't want to be here no more. You know what I mean? He didn't want to be here. I didn't even know it was that bad.
Wow.
And I remember I'm playing a video game. I was playing a video game with my brother. This was like 2 years ago. And I seen his call. I'm like, why is he calling me this late? It wasn't unusual, but I was just like let me answer. He probably gonna tell me like he don't want to train tomorrow or something. So answer, and I can tell he had been crying, and I'm like, huh. And we just talked. We met up the same night, and you know, we got him out of a tough situation. And then, but yeah, just to answer the question, like it's everything. The mental health of the athlete is everything. And even to that point though, with me, like people think that like I'm this machine and I just go and I operate like that. Like I go, I take care of my kids, I go to work, create all these videos, everybody loves it. But like, it's like I'm fucked up. Like my body hurts, my head hurts. I have a million things going in my head with personal life, with work. And, you know, is people going to like this video, or people going to like this, or they're going to take to this, they're going to understand what I'm saying. I'm trying to start this. I'm trying to feed my babies. I'm trying to make enough money to be able to pay. You know what I mean? It's all these things going on at one time. I'm like, my mental health needs to be taken care of. So, yeah, that's everything.
Yeah.
It's everything.
Did you know it was going to be a part of it when you decided to go this route?
No.
You didn't know you were going to be like a mental health professional. You're like, I need some help.
For real?
Yeah.
Nah, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking about when I first got out the military, I know what I want to do. I want to do something with training. I'm not thinking nothing of what I am now. I didn't have an Instagram. That's what people don't understand. Didn't have an Instagram. I didn't have anything. I was just doing my thing. And I hit the ground running, kind of. I got out, got an internship at UCLA, was training, not training, but I was, learning from the football team over there, and I learned a lot over there. And I mean, wasn't making any money over there doing it. I wasn't doing anything. I was just learning. At that time, I wanted to do my own thing and train athletes. At that time, I knew I was 23 at the time, 22, 23. I don't know. I just wanted to train athletes and do my own thing. And I had no idea this is what came with it, and that I would take it like this. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I didn't even want, that wasn't even on my mind.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The most basic question I probably should have started this whole thing with, because I know you specialize in specific things when it comes to training. So like, what are the specific things that you really specialize in, and why did you choose, why do you think those things are important?
Initially, while I was in the military and I was planning all of this stuff out, I was just thinking, let me train athletes. I was thinking, let me train, and that was it. I wasn't thinking about anything specific or anything like that. Got out, I was training my little brothers. They was like 13 at the time.
They were your first clients?
Yeah, giving them hell. Yeah. And if they were here, you would be laughing. They would be telling you I had them doing stupid shit. Oh my God, they would tell you. Just learning from different professionals. UCLA was the best experience. That's why I'll keep mentioning it. But start pinpointing on how people want to develop. Everybody wants to develop the same thing. Whether if you play football, you want to develop explosiveness, better ability to move. Tennis players, same thing. You want to move laterally. Everybody wants to develop the same thing. Explosiveness, speed, balance. It's all the same shit. But everything stems from, does your body work correctly? Does your feet, does your knees, does your hips, does everything work the way that it's supposed to? And nobody will ever be functioning at 100%, but you want to get your body able to have its foundational base strong, you know what I mean? So for example, if somebody comes at me and they're like, hey man, it could be a professional too, somebody at the highest level. They're like, I want to get faster, I want to get stronger, I want to get better balance because my sport requires that. I'm like, all right, cool. The first thing I start at is, 1, do you have any injuries or pain? 2, how's your knees? How's your ankles and hips? How are those foundational things? Because that's what goes into movement, running, jumping, everything, right? And yeah, so that's how I kind of found what I wanted to do, and it just happened. I can't tell you, it just happened. I think I put logic into it. I'm laying down one night, and I'm like, what goes into getting faster though? And this is after internship. This is after a bunch of different classes and seminars. It's your joints. It's everything that allows for your body to move the way it's supposed to. So yeah.
So were you looking for a gap in the market, or it was really your own curiosity? Because I feel like that's probably why you're as big as you are, because you're tapping into a gap that most people aren't, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That is, and I laugh because when I was watching baseball one day, this is in the middle of me learning at UCLA, and had got home from a long day of training over there, of working over there. And I'm sitting down and I'm just watching this game. I was watching the Cardinals versus somebody, and I'm just laying down, and I got up and I'm like, a lot of people in baseball aren't that fast. I'm like, if you bring speed to baseball, this was my initial light bulb. I'm gonna bring speed to baseball because I know how to teach it well, and that's something the sport needs. So it's cool. That was the gap I was gonna bridge, right? And that was the initial thing. That was all I was gonna focus on. I was only gonna focus on baseball, and I was only gonna focus on speed. And once I started seeing all of these different sports correlate with each other, and everybody have the same issue, let me start focusing on something else that was different. And then I must have trained, I forgot who it was, but I trained somebody and seen that they had issues with the knees and stuff like that. And I hadn't really seen people talk, not athletic people, not athletic trainers, other people, but hadn't seen any athletic trainers talking about it. I'm like that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. So yeah.
That's cool. I mean, so talking about business and like a bunch of other questions, so that's you. I mean, I wanted to start with just even like your pricing model and stuff like that. Like it seems like you give away so much for free or for like almost unbelievable prices considering the level you're at. So I'm curious what your perspective is on doing that and if it's been beneficial, like if it's helped you grow or if it's hurt like the profit. How do you gauge if that's the best thing for you?
It's bittersweet. So it's bittersweet. So I give everything away for free, right?
Yeah, it seems like it.
They give me so much shit. Like my parents, everybody I know gave me so much shit for it. But I copy Gary Vaynerchuk. He gives away all this stuff for free. And that's who I modeled everything after when it comes to business because I learned a lot from him. And I owe him a lot. I owe him a lot of credit as far as just what I put out. But I give it away for free because I want to. In short, like I can give you all this bullshit. I give it away because I want to, right? But on the flip side, it's like I do need to feed my kids though. And I price it at what I price it at it should be double or triple of what I sell it at. You know what I mean? But I price it at that because for one, I know who follows me. I know I have a lot of 18, 22-year-olds, people who are in college, people who don't have much money. You know what I mean? So like on the outside looking in, it's like, dude, you could charge $200-$300 for this, that, and the other. But I'm like, you do not see the DMs that I have because I have 4,000 DMs right now and 3,000 of them are a bunch of college kids who can't really afford to pay $300 for a program. You know what I mean? Like they can't. Or this little 17-year-old that's about to graduate. So that's why I price it at what I price it at. Not everybody got it like everybody else. So that's why.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm just cognizant of who follows me.
Right.
Yeah.
And wanting to serve them too. Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, that's what that is though.
But does that mean that you get almost so many more clients than you can handle? Does it become difficult when like managing the business aspect if you're getting such a high volume of people because the price is so low? Yeah,
damn man, that's a good question. Yeah, that's something I always was. Yes.
Okay.
So in person, online, all of that. So like it's a high value, and then I always think to myself like, damn, I could charge more. But like, nah, because then I'm not doing the people a service.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, but that's always been a problem. I have an influx of people who want to train with me, and then I have to turn a lot of people away whom I don't even want to turn away. I actually want to train a lot of you. So yeah, it does create this thing to where I'm like, maybe I should raise the prices a little bit. I'm still figuring it out.
It's tough because if you built it from a mindset of wanting to service certain types of people, like these college students, you want to keep yourself available to them.
Yeah.
But from a business perspective, you're like, if I raise the prices, that'll diminish the amount of people. Like it'll just be a smaller pool of people that you can easily manage. And I feel like people may not understand that from an outside perspective. Like you keeping your prices low in order to service so many people makes it so much harder for you to manage the business aspect. Like you could make it easy for yourself, quadruple your prices, have a handful of clients and call it a day.
Call it a day. Yeah, real shit. So I'm still figuring it out because at this point that I'm at in my career though, I do want it to benefit me a little more. Because I've given, it's been years, you know what I mean? I've given everything away for free to where it's like, all right, like what about me at this point? But I'll never stop my initial, my initial purpose of why I started. It was like genuinely to help people. It was genuinely to help people. And I was just like, I'm going to put this out for free. I want the little boy that lives in Maine to benefit from this. You know what I mean? Because he doesn't have access to this type of training. He loves my shit and he can actually benefit from it. So that, I'll never stop that. But I need to find something that kind of benefits me a little more. But yeah.
Do you feel like you're still figuring out your definition of success? Okay.
I am. And like now when I walk inside my house, I'm like, okay, cool. This is what I want, to where I go inside a place that I own. This is my place. And, I got my car, my kids taken care of. I can call off tomorrow if I want to, and it won't affect me. These type of things I'm starting to value a lot more now. To be able to go inside my own house at the end of the day and just watch sports or watch a movie or watch something on Netflix and just chill. Like that's, I don't know, I appreciate that so much these days.
Like your freedom.
Yeah.
Even freedom of choice. Like if you choose to sit and watch something, you could do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Freely though.
Yeah.
So I'm still figuring out the whole success thing. And like you have two parts. I feel like that's being grateful about life, what I just mentioned. But the success part, I'm still trying to figure it out. I battle with it because at times, and I must have said, I don't know if I said this to Eiler yesterday or if I said this to somebody, Or it's probably, I think it was to my brother. I don't know,
Okay.
but I was just like, I feel like I should have a lot more in terms of everything, in terms of where I'm at with my career. I feel like I should be training a lot more people when it comes to like the higher status people. I should have all of this money because I should be charging more. I should be in a bigger, better place. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, that's the balancing
what
act
it
of it,
is.
like what you value
Yeah,
and figuring all that out.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to the people that you want to service, like we're saying, like you could cut that whole market out if you wanted to raise your prices and then get those other material things you're mentioning. Or you can like service the people you want to service, have more time for your family. It's all about like what you prioritize, but it's hard to figure out.
it's hard. I'm just trying to find that happy medium.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I'm still figuring it out. I don't know when I'm going to. I don't know if I'm going
It's
to.
like a lifelong
Yeah.
adjustment.
Yeah, I feel like I gotta just take a big step and just say like, fuck it, like I gotta do this. But we'll see what happens. I don't know. Listen, I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. I do have one big question that's at the end that I want to ask. It's like the way to wrap it up because it's the theme of the show, but let me know how you feel about it. It's just if you could break the mold on one thing, what would it be? I don't know if you read that at the bottom, and I feel like it's like loaded question.
Oh shit, it is a loaded
Yeah.
question. I hadn't even thought. I wish I would have prepped for that question. What you mean?
Whatever, however you interpret it is the way it's meant to be answered.
All right. If I could break the mold on one thing, can I say two things?
Yeah, whatever.
All right, cool.
You could say it all.
First thing that comes to mind is being at this point of, I don't have it figured out by no means, and nor will I act like it. But I will say, speaking from experience, from being on my own, young, to like fucking up a lot and all types of Oh, Chris fucked me up. No, you good. You good. But not just.
This fucked me up. You gotta keep that in.
But no, being on my own and like really learning, just, learning and going through my ups and downs in life. I want people to understand that it's okay to do what you want to do. I want people to understand that it's okay to mess up and change your mind. It's okay to change your mind. Like, it's perfectly fine. Nothing's gonna happen. Maybe something that you've been waiting on your whole life is on the other side of changing your mind. Like, seriously, because even with my little brother, talked to him a lot, and he was, afraid to change his mind about what school he was gonna go to or what he wanted to focus on in college once he got in and stuff like that. And there's bigger things I just don't want to say. I don't know how to feel. But I'm like, bro, I was your age. I was 21 a while ago, and I was at a point to where I didn't have a big brother to tell me, to give me advice on none of this stuff. I didn't have that, so I had to figure it out on my own. But I want people to understand, like, that's a big thing. Like, I want people to understand they can do what they want to do. You know what I mean? So, also, breaking the mold or something. That is a hell of a question. Because I take it serious because, damn, you got it.
I'm just nodding, feeling like I got you good.
You got me with this one. You stumped me. Because I do have an answer for it.
Yeah.
It's just, I want it to be good on how I articulate it. Is it like, what do I want to break the mold on? Like, what do I? So with the trainership, I want to be the best trainer in regards to what I'm giving to athletes, and breaking that whole mold and kicking that door open on teaching athletes to focus on things that nobody's ever told them that they need to focus on. And I've gotten so many messages from all these people, from the highest level to the lowest level, to older grandmothers and stuff. Like, I'm 60-year-old women, they'll DM me, and you know what I mean, they'll send me videos of them doing stuff like that. And it's getting them out of dark places. It's getting them scholarships. It's putting them in positions to feed their families, like I was mentioning earlier. And I'll say this to anybody that wants to be in a place that I'm in, or want to do the things that I'm doing. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it's okay to do what you want to do. It's okay to do what you want to do. Because initially that's what I did. And I will share this. Once I got out of the Air Force, it wasn't like I hit the ground running and I was like super successful. I got out of the Air Force and it was back to ground zero for me. And my initial thought process was, okay, I need to do something. I need to be something. And I wanted to break the mold, per se, on training. Now, to get to this point that where I'm at, I never saw this, never thought of this, but I wanted to like shift the whole training culture once I started to figure out what was going on. So I mean, yeah, man, that's what it is.
So you did it.
I did it.
You did it.
I mean, I'm doing it, and it's still happening, and I want to take it to another level. And when you asked me that, I was gonna say I did do it.
You did.
You know, that
That's
was
a beautiful thing. I feel like I just witnessed the full circle moment, like even in your mind type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did it. And I'm still doing it, and I want to take it to that level. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for doing this with me.
Nah, this is a pleasure. We got to do this again. Like, I'll do this 6 more times.
Yeah, we have to.
Damn, this is fun.
Yeah.
Man.